You can't talk to you're not allowed to reach out to the seller. But if the seller reaches out to you or the buyer reaches out to the other agent with permission from you, they can talk. Does it lead sometimes become messy? Yeah, it does. But you can't stop a buyer from talking to somebody else, and you should have, they should have your permission to do so. You can't stop it though.
Thank you.
Delia, this is Coles. I got one quick question. So when does a potential buyer actually owns a property that's under contract? So the situation is I'm under contract to purchase a property, and the buyer, he's doing a lot of things. They like to have access to the home multiple times outside of any of the inspections. So he's a lawyer too. So he tells me that technically he owns the home and that the closing is essentially kind of the finalizing of that, but just trying to understand, what are kind of some of those hard lines of who actually owns the properties, and is he allowed to kind of go in there? It's not so much as he please, but like to do other things besides some of those inspections.
Hello, Delia, you're on mute.
I think we lost her.
Let me run over to her office. She might be having a technical issue. Give me 1 second.
Hey, Cole, it's my understanding that it's you have to wait till settlement, but I'd like to hear what Delia says, that it's kind of like buying a car. Once title transfers, then it's theirs. But I'd love to hear what Delia has to say on that, because that's pretty frustrating if a buyer wants to do certain things to the home and
there's
prior
no
to settlement. I
question.
don't-
There's no question that the buyer does not own the home until settled.
Mhm, you're right.
Yeah.
They do not own that home until the key is passed.
That's correct.
At settlement table, if they touch it, then they're liable, and I don't know if you have any liability on that end or not. As the buyer agent, I wouldn't think you do, but yeah, I'd advise stay away.
So Delia and Gary, they're trying to fix her mic right now.
That's
So-
what we had issues with on my side. So
Mhm.
Okay, no.
I guess I'll bring up this. It's not really a question, but I've been getting a lot of inquiries about Delaware, our Delaware license that we just got. John, I think I just replied to one of your emails. So Delaware, we're officially up and running, escrow's open, everything like that. Delia and I are meeting with our broker today or tomorrow to find out the logistics of transferring and how that process looks like. So we should be fully trained internally to support the transfer or affiliations with our Delaware probably by next Tuesday. So anybody that's looking to get into Delaware, we should be up and
Great
running.
news, Kyle.
Yeah, affiliations and transfers will be probably next Tuesday.
Cal, this is Bob Carter. I would like to be able to get that information because I am licensed in Delaware.
Yeah, just shoot me an email, kyle@taylorprops.com, or reach out to me next Tuesday and we can start that process.
All right, very well. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kyle. That's awesome. We get started in Delaware.
Yeah.
Hey, do you hear me?
Yep.
You're
Yeah,
How
echoing.
about now?
Say something again.
You guys
Yeah,
there?
you gotta stop hitting the buttons.
I know.
we're
I'll
good.
keep my hands like this. I promise. Okay. I didn't get the last question. I didn't hear any of it. I'm sorry. Can you repeat that again?
Mhm.
I think it was Cole had a question.
Yeah, so my question is trying to understand when, I guess, when
No,
does a buyer,
cómo fue con tu that's better.
Raphael, hold 1 second. All I can hear is you.
when
Head
does,
Cole.
yeah, when does a buyer officially, I guess, own, well, I guess is official owner for a property if they're currently under contract to purchase? Because I do have a buyer right now who's trying to get into the home prior to closing and outside of doing the inspections or any of those other inspections that's there for other reasons, right? But is trying to get access to the home. The listing agent is for the most part saying no. So, but he is a lawyer and, recent grad, and he tells me, based off of his recent education that, once they are under contract, from his understanding, the home is his and that the closing, all that does is solidifies the deal, and then, just trying to understand, what are some of those lines of, when it officially crosses over, I guess, home ownership.
Yeah.
Loaded question.
That's what it is. It's kind of a tricky question because, as a seller, I don't want the buyer to come to my house anytime he wants to come in, that's why we do home inspections and we do walkthroughs and things like that. As a courtesy, to make it a smooth transaction, sellers will allow the buyers to come in and do some measurements, but I haven't seen anywhere where it says by law, you have to let them in your house until it settles. I've never seen anything in writing. So I would say to that, unless we can find it in writing, then what's the law? Then it's only if the seller is given permission, besides the home inspection and the walkthrough and things like that, what's part of the contract.
Delia, I have an answer.
Mhm.
So my daughter is a recent law grad as well,
Mhm.
about 2 years now. So I know that it's reviewed in law school in DC. And she tells me that Georgia, so it really depends on where you're
On the state.
domiciled.
Mhm.
Georgia, you own the property. So you have to get the insurance on the property in Georgia when you are a buyer, because you do have access. It is your property. And there are a few other states, Western states as well. So I guess the question Cole should ask is, what states he's familiar with. And where he's licensed. But Jessica, my daughter, tells me, no, obviously not here.
Yeah, I know Maryland, it's not. And I know, like you
Yeah.
said, Deborah, other states there it is. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, the actual signing of the deed is when the property transfers.
Exactly.
When that seller signs that deed, then it transfers to the buyer.
Exactly.
They can grant them into the house as long as, like Delia had said, as long as you grant permission, like if they want to come in and do measurements or do some work, then that's fine.
Yeah.
Delia, I just had a goofy situation where selling a house as is, they came in, they had the right to terminate. Inspector came in, he filled the tub up in the bathroom, and then he let it loose. The leak didn't come about until after the inspection. What had happened was in the P-trap, in the drain, it was kind of like eroded out. And by him putting all that pressure on the drain, it kind of opened it up. And then the stain film formed on the ceiling underneath.
Oh.
So the buyers go in and take a look. They say, oh no, there's a leak here. And, at first I just kind of pushed back. I said, hey, you bought as is, this is this. And they said, well, it wasn't as per the condition when they walked through it and signed a contract. And, so we're ending up fixing it, but it was kind of a goofy situation with the as is clause because of, you know, the action happening after the inspection, and literally it was caused by the inspection, even though the inspection didn't catch it.
Yeah.
But my initial was pushback. I'm like, hey, you bought as is, it's yours.
Yeah, but
And-
as
and
is
we're
when they
fix-
saw it.
We're
As is
fixing
when they
it
saw
though.
it. Mhm.
Yeah, we fixed it, and but it was just a weird situation that
Yeah.
I don't know if it's happened for anybody else.
Oh, it's
you know,
happened.
where something
I was going
happens
through
after
one.
the inspection.
Yeah, I'm going through one right now. That the buyer was accused of breaking a AC unit because the inspector looked at it. I mean, it happens all the time. You're not the first.
All right.
Won't be the last. No, it's all the time. Do you find that so what I'm seeing here this last probably week is a lot of buyers are walking and a lot of sellers are wanting their money because they're walking and they can get out of the contract legally and ethically. Are you finding that?
Yes, I
It's-
think we all are. Mhm.
There's a scenario that's going on right now that I have. We represented the buyer. It's a long scenario. I'm gonna make it real short though. We represent the buyer and the buyer backed out of the contract. Because he went from conventional to where a W-2 employee to a 1099 employee where it's changed some of his terms. So the seller agent or listing agent said, well, why don't you try another lender? Well, they didn't want to do that. So they got out of the contract and nothing was signed or anything. They just got out because at this point, nothing was signed. Well, less than 48 hours later, I guess that they sent over the release, I think, maybe, I can't remember. Less than 48 hours later, the buyer went under contract with another house right away. So the listing agent is now stating that she is going after the buyer for her commission. Can
Mhm.
she? My question is, can she? The listing agent saying, now you have a loan less than 24 hours later, and now you just wrote another house. So she's saying you deliberately did this, you didn't want this house because they really wanted a rancher, and that's what they ended up getting as a rancher. And I don't know how she found out all this stuff. Well, I think she found out about it because they wrote on somebody else, same company, just different agent. So now she's saying that, we were ready to settle, you backed out at the last minute. I'm going after, my commission. Can she get it? Is the
I
question.
think you can.
Hey, Delia, Norm.
Yes.
It depends on what the financing addendum was. If the buyer's using the financing addendum to get out of it, then the financing addendum would dictate what happened there.
We were beyond the financing addendum. It was done because they had the loan. Everything was good.
Mhm.
We're beyond
Yeah,
that.
I'd say yes, then.
I do too. I say yes, she could go after her.
So Norman, what do you think?
Well, I was going to go back to the financing. I was going to go back to clarify again what the agreement was when the parties agreed to move on, and was it formalized? It sounds like it was not formalized.
It wasn't. And I'll tell you, Norm, I'm seeing that so much now, it's unreal. And these agents are really not representing their buyers and sellers the way we should be. I see it happen at least 4 times a day.
Yeah, no, that
It's
buyer's
that
agent
bad.
representing that buyer that
Yeah.
backed out on your deal.
Yeah.
Should have certainly advised them to not enter into another agreement, and or should have had some type of an agreement, something in writing with the other parties as they were entering into that agreement, letting them know that they were still in another agreement
Mhm.
and had not terminated that. And I think that, yeah, if that agent wanted to push for having earned their commission, going back to one of those previous scenarios, once in contract, the agents have earned their commission. Settlement is simply they simply have agreed to receive their commission at settlement at basically a later date. So, yeah, they may have a very good point to.
So this is
argue their
what
commission.
this is what I'm gonna say. You would think that would be correct, right? I brought my house is here. You bought a buyer that's willing to buy my house and a seller that's willing to sell. You didn't perform, but I still earn my commission, right? Right. But that's not the fact. Understand that the seller, not the seller's agent, has possible financial resources against the buyer. Okay, because the buyer, we have a buyer agency agreement that we are compensated depending on how you fill out the buyer agency agreement, right? and the seller has a listing agreement. The seller gets the listing agreement, or the seller represents the agent represents the seller who has the listing agreement. We represent the buyer. Okay. So in this case, she's not due to her commission because her contract's with her seller. Okay. Now, our buyers, who are our people, my agent, because they just walked and went somewhere else. We've earned our commission depending on how we filled out that buyer agency agreement, is depending on whether we get paid or not.
So you're saying if our agreement with our client is that they will compensate us if not available from those other sources, then we are due then they may be due a commission.
Yeah. So how the other agent, the seller's agent would get paid is, let's say there was a release to have, okay, and there was 5,000. Okay, then the seller's agent can, depending on how it's written, can get some money from the seller that was compensated by that was given by the buyer.
Okay, now let me muddy the waters a little bit more.
Mhm.
That broker has advertised to share that fee from the seller with a buyer's agent through the MLS. It's the MLS that's now stating that there's a commission of X payable to a buyer's agent on that property. So how the buyer's agent is going by the MLS information, how can the broker's agreement with their client renege that?
Meaning with the buyer?
Yeah, well, you're saying that
I'm going to
the listing agreement.
I'm going to read this what it says, okay?
Mhm.
And I'm going to just eliminate I'm going to say it anyway. It says, understand that only the seller, not the seller's agent, has possible financial resource against a buyer that may be in default of a contract. The other broker is not the seller and not a party of the contract. Also, the broker represents only the seller, not the buyer. So they have no resources against us, TP, per our buyer's agency agreement. And this was done by, we went back and forth with lawyers on this, the real estate board, and because it was very confusing, because you say, you're right, Norman, when it's multiple listed, this is the seller saying, this is what I'm going to pay. And then you have people that are walking for no reason, and the agents do all their job, all their work, and they get nothing, But unless it settles is when the compensation goes to the buyer, to the brokers, unless you're protected under your buyer agency agreement or your listing agreement.
Gotcha.
I know.
Yeah.
We go through this all the time. And finally, honestly, after probably a year trying to figure this out and get an attorney on this through MAR and through National too, we finally got an answer, because this happens all the time. So this will be going out soon in the newsletter as well.
So Delia, you had mentioned in this having a what our agreement looks like with our buyers. Do you guys have examples that you could send out to the team as far as like good practices?
Exactly. I can show you. Yes, absolutely. I'll make sure we'll do that in the newsletter or the next Q&A, or even before that, in an email. Yeah, we can show you how to fill one out, because you are protected if they walk. Yeah. Anything else? Any other questions, examples?
Hi, Delia, it's Nadine. How are you?
I'm good, Nadine. How are you?
Good, thanks. So I just advice, looking for advice. I have a listing getting ready to come up. For some reason, the homeowner has already had an appraisal done to the property. It's in Northwest DC, Petworth, really hot market. But they want to list the house for $300,000 more than the appraised value. And of course, I tried to keep a straight face, tried to talk a little bit of reason into them, but they are adamant. And they're like, okay, Nadine, if you want the listing, this is what you have to do. But I'm afraid, going out there and listing it for this exorbitant price, that it doesn't hold the value at the way it is now. Now, if a wholesaler came in or, an investor and put 300 in it, then it would be worth more. You understand? So my question is what to do when a homeowner wants to sell their house for so much more than it already has appraised for?
Mhm. What I recommend is, and Norma might have a different answer for you on this one. What I recommend is that typically when it sits, first off, you're probably not going to get a lot of showings. That's one sign that it's not going to show because it's priced too high. And then, you might or might not get you might get lowball offers. And typically what happens is that the seller says, okay, I'm gonna find another agent. And then they drop the price, right? It happens all the time. So what I would do to at least save the listing so you don't lose it is you start out where they want to be and then agree within 2 weeks or how many weeks after a week, let's lower it to this. And then if, we just compromise to where this is where you think it is, or at least let's lower it to the appraised value or a little bit higher, something. Get to some kind of agreement to where you're not going to lose the listing, but you're going to tear the price down on a certain time frame. That way it gives you more time to sell the house and them not be able to, get out of it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I just had a situation where it was the estate and they did an appraisal for the estate. They came in like at 500,000 and we started at like 700,000. I'm sorry, 750. And we are in the range of like 700 right now. So depending on what the appraisal that came in was for, it might have a bearing on the price. But, I didn't know if you did your own market analysis and showed them all the stats around your client in regards to value. My situation it's a very interesting situation because it was an old neighborhood surrounded by all new homes. And so I didn't know if you presented a bunch of data on sales to your client that would help your situation out. The problem is the past couple of years have been, the past year has been berserk. So I really think, like you had started earlier, Delia, the market's changing a little bit. Buyers are backing out, homes are sitting longer, and I'm trying to coach my listings into this because everybody thinks it's going to sell in that first weekend or the second week now because of what they've been brain damaged into, like seeing. And the market, I do see the market changing. I see interest rates creeping up. And I think a lot of it's coaching our clients and, in regards to that appraisal, do your own comps, do a hard look at the comps and present those comps to your client because if they go on Zillow and, Redfin, some of those numbers are crazy. They just throw all the numbers in and they don't know the conditions of the house or where they're located. They just crunch them in there, but they see those numbers sometimes and it makes us as agents crazy. So that's just my 2 cents.
Thanks for that. Yes, I actually sold a house 3 doors down from this lady and I sold it for $945. So she assumed that because, it's an interior unit and she's on the end, that hers is worth more. But that house was a full gut, everything new from the rooter to the tutor. And that's what I just continuously tried to explain to her, but she's just not listening. But yes, I presented all the comps and everything, but they are just determined that this is what they want for their house. So.
Well, before we let Pat speak about Back At You, I wanted to let everybody know that we have hit year to date 1 billion in sales. Year to date, yes. Hopefully we'll end up at 1.1 to 1.5, by the end of the year. So I think that's great. The first time. So that's wonderful.
Yeah, congratulations on your I see you in front of the news there. The real producers or whatever.
I'll get out of here.
Great job.
I do it for Gary. He needs marketing stuff. I hate this.
I know you're only
Great
dealing
job.
with 1 million agents.
Yeah. I'd rather deal with agents than do that, honestly.
Congrats, though.
Thanks.
Yeah, congratulations.
So where's Pat at? There you are. Ready to get
Right
started?
here.
Okay.
Yeah, great information. It's gonna be hard to follow up with everybody's info, but hey, so I'm gonna go over BackAtYou kind of at a 30,000 foot level. I kind of understand where everybody is with it. It's an animal. It's pretty intense, to be honest with you. So
Is everybody familiar with this
Here we go.
platform? First off,
yeah, let's start there. Where is everybody on? Has everybody logged in at minimum and done the basics? Or thank you, Delia, for that, because I should have opened with that.
I mean, is everybody familiar with BackAtYou? At this
I
point?
am.
Just a little.
Okay, so what
Okay.
Pat's gonna, there's two steps to this. One, I mean, he's gonna show you what you guys, if you utilize and know what you're doing, and he's gonna briefly go through this with you. This will, Pat, tell me how you doing on your sales and the stuff. What has this done for you?
But it's done a lot for us. It is an animal, getting it together, getting all of your information in, because there's kind of two sections you have to deal with. But once you get your head in it, it moves pretty fast. For our team, our projected 100% all-in date is January 15th. This has helped with a couple of our brand new listings. It's helped kind of legitimize the team just from impressions in the social media world, if that makes sense. Everybody kind of always checks you out on social media first, most people. So it's helped us in that sense. But if you guys are okay, well, let me open with the two sections and see if anybody has any questions first on where they are and how much they've touched on first.
So Pat, to introduce yourself real quick. So Pat is the team lead of the Capital Home team here with Taylor. He's been with us now for 6-7 months, maybe?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So thank you for that, Kyle. I came from KW up in Millersville. And I guess the reason why I've kind of gravitated to BackAtYou is I was on the command team for up there to, introduce command to KW, all those other things. And when Kyle showed me BackAtYou, I went, that's command. That's exactly what Gary Keller's been trying to master. And he's, to his credit, he's given it a shot, but it's been very difficult for him. He's trying to reinvent the wheel, and BackAtYou is exactly what, not exactly, but very close to command. So I really am a fan of the system, but it takes a little bit to get it up and running, but it's not as difficult as everybody thinks. Anything new is hard to get your mind around. But, Kyle, you can kind of pipe in. This was one of the reasons why I came over to Taylor, was this is a really great add-on to your business, to be honest with you. You can set your budgets in here. You can do all kinds of things, but I don't want to overwhelm everybody today, because it can be overwhelming. I wanted to touch on the social bay and, kind of what this can do today for you guys, if that's okay.
Yes.
Is everybody open to that?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. So this is my BackAtYou, and I want to go over in your social bay. You've got two bays. You've got a client bay, and it might take a second because we are having a slow internet. And the client bay is where you kind of upload all of your contacts. You have your messages. You'll see your listings, and if you have a team, you can kind of see what your agents are doing. And then if you come over to the social bay, which we're going to focus on today, this is where you can literally connect your Facebook, YouTube, all your different social media outlets to advertise your business and your listings. You have a marketing calendar, and that's kind of where I wanted to focus on. So right here, we're on the home screen, and this will kind of give you an idea of what you're doing that day, your engagements, time saved. Now you can see we have 0 engagements and all those other things because we have not started to put money behind our ads and the things that we've set up in our content calendar. So when you look at this, to kind of make it not overwhelming from a big picture view, this is kind of like your dashboard where you can direct all your advertisements. Even if you just wanted to put your listings up, or if you just wanted to put videos up of listings. So it's really cool in that respect. As you can see on the left of the screen, you have home, which is where we are. Gives you an idea of what your time you're saving, all the other things. Oop, there we go. Then you have your content calendar. And then you get into your listings where you're gonna, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Kyle and Gary, this will, once you put a listing in the system, it will automatically populate it here. It might take a day or so, but you don't even have to input it here. Is that correct?
Correct. Any listing that gets put into the MLS will get pulled into here. And that includes your images, your videos, whatever descriptions you have. And then, yes, all that information gets pulled over. And if you do change it on the MLS side, it does take a day or so for it to populate on the other side. So just a heads up there.
That's what I wanted to make sure of. So like, here's one of our ones that we're going to really push through BackAtYou to get some metrics for the team. It's in a coming soon status. We'll upload the photos, and it'll take about a day or so for all those photos in the virtual tour to populate. But again, staying on the left-hand side, you have your home, which will give you your dashboard, content calendar, which is really outlines all of your marketing for the day. So, or for the week or for the month. I think you can even view for the quarter. I'm 90% sure. So when you come here, here's the 8th, and this is what's populating to a Facebook page that I set up, which is called Our Communities. And it's really just I like to do things about 5 million times before I cut it loose on and make it live. So these are going to Our Communities Facebook page. And at the end of December, we will put them onto the Capital Home team. But this is the marketing that comes with BackAtYou, that once you connect your Facebook page will automatically drip to it. Now, one of the
Pat, I got
things.
a question, Pat. Are you saying that?
Yep.
Then, so you didn't create this post?
No.
It comes with BackAtYou?
No.
Yeah.
No,
Okay,
BackAtYou.
which is nice.
Oh,
Okay.
I set it up for it to come to our calendar. Hear what happened there. Come back. I set it up to populate to that Facebook page. You have, and I can go through the setup here in a second, but I really wanted to focus on how you can actually edit this post. So let's say, I don't know, I'm just going to say Norman Lee, who was talking, the name popped into my head. If he was like, hey, I want to edit this post and I really want to brand it to myself, you come here to the little pencil, and I've already edited it, so it might not let me.
Yeah, that's a path.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it already ran. So let me come over here to one that has not run yet. Preview the post, go to edit. And over here, you're going to be able to edit from images to the verbiage that you want in it, the title, the description, and then you actually have a URL link that you can copy and put into other social platforms, right? Which is pretty cool. So, I'll sit down as I did in the beginning of January or December and kind of outlined everything and edited what I want to get the metrics that I wanted at the end of the month. Does that make sense, guys? Am I losing anybody there?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Can you upload a homemade video for your listing? Because as you know, Bright will not let you do that.
Yes, you can.
Yeah. Yes, you can. And actually, let's go to the listing. They'll actually, let me continue real quick. Just let me come out of this and I'll go to it. Just want to show you guys. Here's where you can edit the schedule and things like that. And then if you go to schedule, and I'm going to come right back to that video and show you how that works. This is where you can create another post or you can boost the post from here. And I'll come back to that once I answer that question. Let me X out of here. So on the listing with the video, you can absolutely put the video in, or you can use the video that they'll have here. And I don't think they'll have one because this is in a coming soon status. But as you can see, you'll get a virtual tour. Basically, it's a slideshow of your professional photos that you upload. Does that answer the question?
Well, I mean, can you send a link to a client of your homemade video tour?
Yes, you can. And you can even send them a property website link. So it'll create a property website for it with a video in it. So you'll literally have your very own property website that you could send to them that will have the video tour in it. So you could do either one. You could take the link and just send the video, or you could send, which is basically a landing page of that property. So if you have 20 listings up, you're going to have 20 separate, what I call landing pages or websites for that specific property that you can send that link to. And then they can schedule a video chat or an in-person showing, and they will have a video within that website. Does that make sense?
Okay, and this video is one that you can upload without having to bring it from Bright.
Correct. This video is
Pat,
generated.
he's asking specifically if he got a video that he made himself, is he able to post that or send it?
Yes, you can create your own content. Absolutely. So you can edit or create your own content for that. Yes.
Okay.
So in the content calendar, I don't know about specifically videos, but there is a way to create your own content in here. And I will say this, it may be easier, and I can't see who's actually answering the question, so forgive me for not using the first name the way this is. Is it Raphael that asked?
That is correct, yeah.
Okay, so in the landing page section, there's a way to create your own content. That's probably what you're going to have to do. Come down, create your own content with the video, okay? So you don't have to go through Bright. So if it's an off-market property, you can absolutely do that.
Yeah, so
And
Raphael,
then you would just,
sorry, can you
Go ahead.
see on the screen real quick? So this is,
you
I
want to
think,
let go of the screen?
I'm sharing my screen right
Okay.
now. Let me make sure everyone can see it. So what I think he's asking is, yes, let's say that he has a customized video on YouTube that he can't upload to the MLS. So obviously the MLS can't pull anything that's not there into the listing on our side. But what we can do is customize the listing on our side. So let's say, we'll just take this property, for example. Once we click into the listing, all this information right here is populated by the MLS. However, we can overwrite all this information as well. On the right side, there is a media box that has all the images that get pulled from the MLS. But we also have a listing video, a second listing video, and a virtual tour link. So in the event that you have, one or two different YouTube videos that you just custom videos that you wanted to include on your landing page or for this particular listing on our website, yes, Raphael, you can definitely link that in here. If at any point that you have any questions or have a listing that you want to do this for, feel free to let me know. I can help you out with that.
Wonderful.
And Gary and Raphael, just note where that is generated from. So that's generated from the client bay, not the social bay.
Right.
Okay. So my apologies on that, guys. I'm focused right here on the social bay. Okay, setting up those social media accounts. So that you would generate that from the client bay on this side. Does that make sense, guys?
Can I ask a question?
want-
Also in regard, since we're
Sure.
on this subject,
Sure.
that video will not be seen by anyone that's searching on the MLS. It will strictly that people that land on your page. So the rest of the MLS, will not pick up that video.
Correct.
Is that correct or incorrect?
That's correct. That is correct. So when we're here, can everybody see my screen?
No, you're gonna have to share again, Pat.
Okay.
But Pat, while you're doing that, so, but you have that URL link that you can plug in to the social media post that will go out to your social media, and it'll have a link, it could have a link to a video.
Correct.
Absolutely. Yes. 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 I actually did that this morning on one of ours and just put the actual link into social media, and it populated just as it is here. And also with the personal landing pages or web pages for each one of your listings. So that's a great point. Great point. A lot of this is done automatically, guys. So it's really, once you're set up, you kind of plug it in and go. You want to look at it every day, though. Make sure that it's actually hitting your different sites. But I do believe that when you come in and you take your links, right, view property website, you take this link, that's probably where you can share this, across everywhere, even prior to it hitting the actual market. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so got in the social bay, you want to make sure that you connect all of your different mediums. So when you come over to profile. If I'm covering ground that you guys don't need, let me know. You scroll through all your profile stuff, right? Link your social media from here, from the settings, and from over on Client Bay. So both in Client Bay and Social Bay, once you have everything set up, you're ready to go. As far as your Facebook, go ahead. Oh, sorry, I thought somebody had a question. Because I really want to get down here into the landing pages. I think this is where there's a lot of opportunity. So down in the landing pages, you have an opportunity, and this is a part of the package that Taylor Properties has with BackAtYou, where you can create specific landing pages and put out on the web, and you can promote them through your social media pages with automatic evaluation tools, which I think is a great way to pick up listings or to get leads. Now, what's nice about this is once you create a landing page and you promote it, let's say on Facebook, wherever, Instagram, and people click on it and they give you their information, that information will automatically dump into your BackAtYou site. So if anybody's familiar with listings to leads or leads to listings, I forget the actual company's name. This is very similar to that technology where you can put this landing page out, you can edit it, you can make it look exactly how you want it to look, and you can collect, name, phone number, and these folks might be 18 months away from making the decision, and we'll probably have to do this in another training. Once that information drops into BackAtYou, you will be able to set up automated emails that will hit that person, right away. And then you will be, I guess, the proper term is notified, or one of your teammates will be notified to make a call. And it will set up certain tasks for that person that's assigned that lead to do. So one of the things we're doing on our team is we're going to put, $100 behind each agent and literally put these out in the markets that they want to own, and then generate leads for them into their bucket, into their client bay bucket. And then a sequence of events will show up on their calendar to complete. It's a really cool tool. And, I can tell you that from experience that this will help you pick up seller leads. Now, sometimes these seller leads are 8 to 18 months away from making a decision, but now you're in their world. Your team or your business is in their world, talking to them and sending them information, content on a monthly basis. Does that kind of make sense to everybody?
Pat, I just wanted to clarify this
Questions on
too.
that? Yeah.
I just wanted to clarify this. So with the social end of it, you don't need to have all the social medias, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Twitter, all that. You don't have to. If you just have Facebook, you could just do Facebook. If you have Facebook and Instagram, you can do how many you want. Just wanted to put that out there.
Absolutely. I totally agree. I would recommend, and I'm sure Kyle would too, and Gary, like if you don't, just set one up, because you're going to find that leads, especially like, let's say the contact form. This is a great form on Instagram that you can start getting leads, first-time home buyers, and or somebody that's, you know, actually going to put it. I've had people put information in for their mom or dad who are kind of like on the retirement end that are looking to sell. And they're looking for agents.
Pat,
The contact form is, yeah.
Let me just, because, you know, I'm not into, I mean, I look at Facebook, but I never had to do what like you're doing and what, you know, Gary does for a living and try to capture leads and referrals and business, you know, way back when Norman, you still online? When he was here, and it still is, I mean, he basically works off referrals at this point, you know?
Yeah, my brain's fried.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the people that's been in the business for a long period of time at this point, you know, are a referral base, word of mouth, you know, friend of a friend. So what this does, and so everybody knows the world is changing because people are going to start buying houses on a computer, you know. So this here, you have your sphere of influences or your people that you know. You post all what you post, videos or, you know, research about homes or whatever. And then once they click and look at it, you've captured them. Is that what you're saying? You kind of, because Gary, yeah, you've captured them. So from there, do you put them in your CRM to keep following them? What do
They
you do
go in the
about-
CRM automatically.
It goes automatically. So, okay. So I will say that I'm with Norman and everybody, and I'm kind of, I have to look at this as like a different, I look at it as casting the biggest net I can, right? Through all different mediums. And I look at Facebook and YouTube and everything as just the new TV, that I'm running commercials and folks are giving their information instead of calling in. They're literally just filling out a form, and I'm collecting their data, and then BackAtYou will automate sending them emails with, and the way I do it is sending them information on the market, or if they're a buyer, if they're a seller, you know, different home tips, the kitchen, the remodel, all the simple things that, and the consumer loves to get them. So it's just like sending people a calendar once a year or sending them a Christmas gift. You're sending them information so that they're up on the market. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And you're legitimizing
and I'll
yourself
tell you,
too.
Yeah, exactly, John.
yes, you are. And here's the one thing, like for Norman and everybody that is I think for the SOIs, there are campaigns within BackAtYou where you set up, like I'm putting everybody on the holiday campaign because I really started digging in around Halloween. So everybody is receiving an email from us for Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and then the New Year. And literally we set it up, assigned it to the folks, and they're getting that information in their email from us.
And it takes you set it up, and then after that, you just put it on your calendar and it automatically goes.
And it just goes, right. So again, I totally get it, guys. We're just trying to cast a big net and collect as much data as possible. Does that make sense?
And when I say my brain is fried, I'm really kind of joking because it's fried because I'm seeing all the potential. I'm seeing that.
It is, you're right.
Yeah.
And I mean, Pat's been with us for like, I think 6 or 7 months, and he was so excited about this. And, we try to give what the agents ask for, and they needed this platform. And that's what we interviewed a lot. And Pat said this was the best one he's ever seen out there. And I've seen how much he's used it, and what his, when he hits it come January 15th, they're ready. I mean, it's so exciting. And this is, I know that, we had some training on it, but I know that a lot of people haven't had time to sit there and build out your calendar and your articles and stuff you want to send. But you're taking time for your business and yourself and your, next year, the year after, next month. I mean, you have to put money into yourself and time into yourself in order to get business. And this is what this does. It's not,
I hate to sound like an old fart.
I know.
But,
I know.
but it's like the space shuttle, right? It looks great, but then you got to run the thing, and getting that thing up and running is like the brain damage on my part.
But what are you going to do when, what are you going to do when you don't have any more referrals?
I know. I'm just saying, I see it looks great. And I'm like, all right, how do I get this thing running now? Like, do I need a mechanic to get this thing running, or,
Gary will help you, right, Gary?
No, you just need me.
Gary will help you.
And here's the thing,
Seriously, you have to do this.
I'd pick one thing, and I'd say, and kind of this is how I did it. And I decided to take longer because my personality was, I'm going to get it done in a week. And I started going through that, and I was fried after like 3 days. I was like, what the hell am I doing, right? So I decided to just take one thing and do it that week. And I put it on my personal calendar, and I just blocked off the time to do it. I am ramping up the time now to get ready for the 15th. So I decided to focus on the client bay first side. And then I hit a point where I said, now I go to the social side, which I look at as like TV. I just look at it as like running TV ads on different channels. And that's what makes it easier for me and my gray hair to kind of wrap my head around it, right?
That makes sense.
Right. And then I said, okay, once I have that, which I'm about 5 to 6 days away from, kind of having a fluidity on that side, I'm pivoting back to the client bay, because once you start generating leads, you want to have your email campaigns all dialed in. So like I did the holiday email campaigns for existing SOI. And so now once we start gathering leads from our net, from our TV channels that are going to be out there, I have to have the email campaigns and drips done, and then have, I hope that makes sense, so that when a lead comes in from Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, wherever it is, Pinterest is another one that is, I think, not used a lot, and it should be. The welcome, thank you for your interest, all the different things that need to happen in those first 5 days that somebody shows interest, so you can get a timeline on whether they're, are they ready right now, or are they more of a yellow or a red? Are they looking 12 months from now? Does that help on how to kind of chop it up and accomplish it?
So the first thing you would do is put everybody in a CRM.
Yeah,
your
first thing you
database?
do is upload your SOI. And that's pretty simple. And if you have a team, then you want to get into, okay, how, who's getting what leads and who's going to follow up with them, right? So you kind of go, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
It all makes sense,
the
but
marketing,
setting the machine up, that's the hardest.
John,
Like,
John, you're my John. You need to set up an appointment with Gary, because you need this. I think everyone needs this.
and I think it's pretty much
I need a
set up,
drink.
except, hey Gary, isn't
I'll have
everybody
coffee
kind of
for
like
you.
live?
I'm buying.
Isn't Gary, does everybody have like a lot that everybody's CRM is kind of live. So if you were to start, you just need to upload your SOI and kind of get that first email campaign out, right?
Yep. Yeah, so John, specifically looking at you, I see that you have a personal and a business Facebook page, which is great. When you log into the agent portal, it automatically puts you into the client base side. And if you're already logged into Facebook, once you click into the social base side, it's just going to ask you which business account you want to connect. And then it's pretty simple. You just follow the instructions to connect your Facebook account. And then once that's connected, it'll ask you how to customize your content. So you can post content every day, every other day. You can pick specific cities. So for example, if you live in Elk Ridge, you can specialize content around Elk Ridge and the surrounding areas if you'd like.
I'm paying someone now to do that. Like it's automatically feeding my Facebook account.
Okay.
So it sounds like BackAtYou might automatically do that, where I'm not paying somebody to feed Elk Ridge area, feed Ellicott City, to feed.
Yeah, but John,
That's
okay, so
correct.
you have
Yeah.
them doing that, but this does it, but also what, I don't know if they do it with, they're doing this for you, but what this does, it captures that client and brings it into your your influence, and you're gonna start seeing them, and they're gonna start following you. And it's gonna go in your database or whatever. Is that what you have now?
Yes.
John, do you have that? People following you?
I don't know.
That's what you know. Yes.
You have a decent amount. You have around 350 people following you, so it's not bad.
What, on Facebook? Yeah, I got a decent amount on Facebook. Yes. Is that what you're talking about, Gary?
So John,
Yes. So certainly, I mean, BackAtYou.
content is,
I'm sorry, I'm just going to
sorry.
finish real quick.
Go
So
ahead.
BackAtYou, I mean, it has a whole bunch of different features that, like you mentioned, you might have a third party running your Facebook page, or you're paying a separate company to run your social media. You don't really need that anymore because we include that within your agent portal. So, I mean, by all means, if you feel comfortable paying a third party to do this for you, certainly you can stick with them. Otherwise, I mean, we do have features for you, obviously, that can alleviate that and cut some costs from your end.
so
And
if
I
could
realize that
interject-
that's the BackAtYou program. I do realize that and it's like, I feel like I'm a driver and I need a mechanic to get my engine going. And
Well, here's the
Gary, I'm
thing,
gonna come
John.
see you. I'm gonna take Delia's advice and maybe come see you if that's all right.
Yes, please do.
All right.
Because you can take those dollars that you're using with that other company, and you can literally, so this is kind of what they're doing for you. If you're paying somebody to do it, they're setting up different campaigns to hit Elk Ridge, and they're going out. Once you have that set up, you can take those dollars and you can boost and get a higher return on your ads. Does that make sense? So you can take those marketing dollars, since this is free, right? And then put that money behind these ads and boost them so you'll get a higher return. Does that make
Absolutely,
sense?
Pat. Absolutely.
And John, what I would
I think
say
that's the
with
beauty of
your reference to Gary being the mechanic and getting it all set up, once it's all set up and you hit go and you kind of play around with it, it's really cruise control at that point.
Yeah.
I love cruise
right.
control. I use cruise control all the time.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. Pat's a good example with it, and he's fully immersed himself in this system, and it seems to be really working out for him.
Now I can tell Pat's all in. He's a mechanic and a driver.
Yeah. So let me
about that.
let me give you
I hit
some
the
examples
guardrail every now and then.
of success stories outside of Pat. So I'm just looking at the admin dashboard now in terms of agents with Taylor Properties that have connected their Facebook accounts and what came out of that. So in the last 30 days, I mean, we have right now 70 agents that have connected their Facebook accounts. We've got 20,000 impressions from those Facebook accounts that are connected, directly attributed to BackAtYou posts. We have just over 25 leads that came in. This is in the past 30 days, by the way. Shelly Stewart, she has the social leaderboard right now at 1,200 impressions in the last 30 days. Ryan Briggs, he's very good at this also. He has over 1,200 impressions in the last 30 days. And Michelle Hamilton, she's relatively new. She has over 1,000 in the past 30 days. So all they really did was connect their Facebook accounts, let the system post for them. And then as a result, these leads are coming in over time just based off them connecting their accounts, so to speak.
A couple of things would be interesting to see. How are they putting any dollars behind those posts? Because as Gary knows and Kyle, that the more agents from Taylor that are on this, the less money we'll all have to put in to be at the top of the feed on all the social media sites. So, let's say if Ryan's doing $1 a day or $2 a day for certain zip codes, right? And his impressions will go up along with ours, and you'll have to spend less money the more agents we have in. Isn't that correct, Gary?
Correct. Yep. So the more agents we have using this, it's definitely going to help with brand awareness, just as the Taylor Properties entity. However, for you specifically within your sphere and specific areas and zip codes, you will definitely be more top of mind than your competitors at a KW or a Long & Foster, strictly because of how the system is set up and advertising using hashtags and zip codes. So there's a lot that goes into it. I don't want to go too deep into it right now because there's a lot to go over. But feel free to use me as a resource. If at any time you have questions how to set this up or need help setting it up, set an appointment with me and we can get that sorted out. So real quick, my email address is gary@taylorprops.com. I'm usually in the Annapolis office 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. So by all means, let me know when you want to get together and we can set something up.
Raphael, where'd you go? Yeah, so what are you looking at? Are you in Facebook? I can't hear you.
I need to open a business account, Facebook.
Okay, you're gonna do it, right? Raphael's been with me a long time. You're gonna be the first one, right?
Will do. Yeah. Thank you, Delia.
Delia, can I ask a question real quick? I guess it's to Gary. So for me, my Instagram is linked to my Facebook, and they're all linked in a way. So if I was to link, I guess the BackAtYou to my agent's Facebook page, which is also linked to my
personal.
To my agent's Instagram,
Yeah.
right? Are those all linked through BackAtYou, or do I have to do them separately?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So then which one would I have to link it to first? Or does it matter?
Well,
do I link it to Facebook, or do I link
you
it
have
to
to do it individually. So you'd put Facebook and then you'd link your Instagram, LinkedIn. You would link them individually, correct, Gary?
You can, however, there are instances where your Facebook business account is connected to your Facebook personal account.
Correct.
So when you first sign up for Social Day, and actually let me just share my screen, might make it easier for you to make sense of this. So once you first log in, it's going to ask you first for Facebook, and then it's going to ask you to connect your personal page in order to connect your business page. So once you connect your business page, then you can connect your Instagram business page right here. And that's a separate login that they'll ask for. So what you're seeing here is the Taylor Properties account of how we connected our Facebook, our Instagram, and Twitter. We used to have it connected to LinkedIn, but it didn't really work out for us particularly because LinkedIn only connects to personal accounts, not business accounts quite yet. That's a LinkedIn issue that they need to kind of solve on their end. But for you guys, certainly you can connect your LinkedIn and have those posts go out to LinkedIn as well, which is I highly recommend. And then going further down into specifically the content that we have automated for us, we focus our content around our service areas right now. So Annapolis, Bowie, Baltimore, Columbia, and so forth. And this can be changed and customized per agent.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure I'm probably gonna have to reach out just to make sure, because I know with social media, even for Instagram, it's all one login, not 3 separate logins. At least that's how I'm set up.
Okay.
So would I then need to do 3 separate logins to do this?
No, you just use that single login.
I'll just use that single login. Okay.
Yep.
Gary, I have a question, Gary.
Mhm.
I see that the Facebook, it's Taylor Properties Facebook is connected, and the Instagram. Mine is personal. I connected mine through a personal account. Should I back those out and connect to Taylor Properties? If you understand what I'm saying.
So actually,
Like this,
the social
like
media won't connect to a personal page. You're probably thinking that your personal page is your business page. That's probably what's going on.
Okay,
So,
okay.
so no, the short answer is no, you don't have to connect to our Taylor Properties account, because technically that's our account. You just have to
I would
connect.
like to, because that's good for the business, but okay.
Right, but what's good for you is also good for the business. And
Yes.
at the
Okay.
end of the day, we want to send business to you, not
Okay.
necessarily us, because if let's say we do connect your Facebook to our Facebook, or your account to our Facebook,
Mhm.
if a lead were to come in, that lead is going to go to us instead of you directly. Does that make sense?
I see.
Yeah, we don't
Now,
want that,
Wanna
because then we're
drop
gonna
in
get,
your
we're gonna ask
bucket.
for a referral.
yes, of course. Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
But no, we could go on here for forever, but please reach out to Gary. I hope this showed you guys to where the future is going, and it's already here.
Yeah, I see.
Because we have to, I know I am, but you have to, be ahead of it and get your name out there and what you do. And right now it's social media. So reach out to
Yes.
Gary. I'm sure he can do, one-on-one, or maybe, I don't know, maybe put a couple on a calendar for him one day or something. I don't know, but we'll figure it out.
Yep, that's fine. I have a couple requests for a couple meetings already, so I'm just going to follow up with people after this call.
Yeah, maybe you can put them in one. I don't know how hard that is for you, but yeah. But thank you so much. I appreciate it. And we will be back when the second Thursday. I know today was Wednesday because I'm going to Florida tomorrow. So the second Thursday of every month is when we're doing it. So keep a lookout.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining. We will reconnect next month.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Happy
Take care.
holidays.
Yeah,
Yeah.
See you.
and congratulations again, Delia.
Indeed, indeed.
Thanks. Bye.